guys, welcome back to my channel. I decided to give you guys a different scenery today. So today we're here to talk about getting your driver's license in Canada. Now, I did mine in Ontario, so that's the process that I can talk about today. Different provinces have different stages for their driver's licensing. So the stage for Ontario may not be the same for the province that you go to. I know it's not the same for Saskatchewan, which is where I'm at now. So let's dive in. Now, the first thing you need to know is that the Ontario driver's license is tiered in 3 stages. So you have your G1, G2, and G licenses. The G1 is a written test, so it's the equivalent of a learner's permit in Jamaica once you acquire that. The G2 allows you to drive in your community, on local roads, stuff like that, not highways. And then the G means you can drive everywhere, including highways. So when you get to Canada, or even if you live in Canada, the first thing you are paying for is $159.75 plus taxes for your G1 and G2 license packaging. So that fee includes your G1 written test, your G2 driving test, and the 5-year licensing fee, right? And that gives you, both licenses after you have passed each test. Now, if you're coming from back home and you're coming to Canada with over 1 year driving experience, it's good to come with your driving extract or your driving history that you can acquire from the Ministry of Transport in Jamaica. And why I say it's good to bring that with you, because if you come here and you did not take that with you, you still have to apply for it from back home, and it's gonna cost you about $40, so 40 Canadian dollars to get it. So if you just get it before coming, you'll save that $40. I wish someone had told me that, so I'm telling you that so you can go ahead and get that before you arrive in Canada. Now, say you did not and you're already here and you're wondering how to get your driving history from back home, you need to visit the Jamaican Embassy, and that is in Toronto. So if you're not close to Toronto, kind of sticky, because I remember having to go in person, so it's not something that I could have done online. But there's been a lot of changes since COVID happened, where a lot of things have been transitioned to being online. So who knows, maybe that process is now online. So definitely do some research into that. But if it's still a fact where you have to go to the embassy, then think about all that traveling. So definitely just bring your extract with you. Now, if you don't have an extract, say you're a new driver in Canada and you've never drove back home, so you don't have a license from back home, then you just follow the regular steps, which is do your written test, and you have to wait 12 months from doing your written test to go do the first driving test, which is the G2, and then 12 more months to do the G licensing. So 2 years officially to become a full driver in Canada if you have no history of driving back home. But bear in mind, it is more expensive to get your driving licenses here in Canada. For instance, to go to a driving school, very expensive here. So if you can do all that from back home, do it, because it will work out so much cheaper for you. But again, everyone might not have that opportunity. So if you have to do it here, then by all means come here and do it. Now, once you already have your license history from back home, you have your driving history, and you say, okay, for the past year you have no accidents, and you're going to apply to do your written test, these are the 2 books that you'll need to study from. So this is the information, and then this is the practical. So these are just test questions and answers, and this is the information booklet. You can also find the free versions online on the Ministry of Transport Ontario, and then you can use that to study as well. But some people like myself just like flipping through physical books. It makes our life easier. This one is $15.95 for the practice test and $14.95 for the written information if you want to buy them. I got mine from Walmart. You can also get them from local pharmacies or online from Amazon or any of those stores. And study for your written test. Don't come and say, hey, I have been driving for X number of years. I already know about signs and all that. I don't need to study. I've seen people who have been driving for years fail just because they didn't study. So please, study. Do not get overconfident and waste that initial money, because then you have to pay to retake the test, and it's $90 for each stage. But the full packaging again was just $159.95 for the first two. Then you pay another $90 when you're ready to do your full G. Now, I did not end up paying to do the full G because I did my G1 written test, and then within a few weeks I did my G2 driving test, and then I was supposed to go back in March, which is when I would have reached my 2-year driving history. Would have been 2 years in March. So I was supposed to go back and do the full G, but if you remember what happened March of 2020, I'll give you a second. COVID, yes, that's what happened. The world was in lockdown, so I did not get the opportunity to do my full G. And by the time the world reopened, I was already in school. I was already distracted by a lot of things. Now, that was one of the big things too, that I wanted to get my driver's license out of the way before school started. So I did everything in January, and I knew I was starting school in May. A lot of you might not get the opportunity to be here that long before school starts, but I just like to get these things out of the way before school starts. So even if you have just a few weeks before school starts and you're here, you can try to get it out of the way so that once school starts, you don't have to think about trying to get your license, trying to do this, trying to do that, because sometimes you get so busy with school and work, especially if you're working here, you're not going to get the time to do all that extra stuff. So it's always good to just get them out of the way. Now, when I came to Saskatoon, I already had my G2 in Ontario since January of 2020. So of course they gave me a full license here. I did not have to do another test or pay any extra. They just gave me a full license. And so that saved me that $90 that I would have had to pay in Ontario to get a full license. And then if I go back to Ontario, I can bring my Saskatchewan driver's license and get a full license there in Ontario. Now, each time you get a license in Canada, you have to surrender the one that you have from the other province. And they even expect you to surrender your licenses from back home to get their license here in Canada. If you want to do that, that's up to you. But yeah, that's the different steps that you have to take to get your license in Ontario. Again, in Saskatchewan, it's a bit different, and their stages are a bit different, because I know theirs go up to class 7, whereas Ontario is just G1, G2, and G. That's it. So, so overall, you're looking at spending almost $300 to acquire your license, and that does not include if you're doing any driving schools here. Thankfully, I did my driving studies back in Jamaica, so I got my license from Jamaica. And when I was doing my driving studies, I did it with Keys in Jamaica in November of 2017 thereabout, and I did lessons straight up until January, and not consistently, of course, but I think I spent at least 30 grand to acquire my license in Jamaica, just between doing the different lessons, paying to rent the vehicle to do the test and all that good stuff. So it cost me about 30 grand, which would be the equivalent of about $300 here. Anyway, so I'm not sure if you'll probably spend more than 300 for driving schools, to be honest. So yeah, it's still cheaper to get it from back home and then come here and continue the different stages here. And yeah, just remember to study for the G1 written test. Do the right thing for your G2 test. If you go online and you go to YouTube, and especially for your area, some great saints out there will actually tell you what you're going to be tested on, so that you can have this knowledge prior to going to the exam, and then you can go there and do your utmost best. Because it's always good to know what they're gonna ask for so you can prepare. And let me tell you, depending on where you do it in Ontario, it might be easier, it might be hard. Because I was in a small town, they were more lenient. So if I made a mistake, they did not penalize me for it. Persons doing it in Toronto, it's gonna be so much harder for them because they're driving in the city and they want perfection because of course you don't want any accidents in the big city. So just consider that when you're doing your test as well. I know people who travel far and wide to come do it in the small towns just because they want to pass, because they know if they go and do it in the city they will not pass. And I remember when I was doing the 3-point turn and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like bullshitting her. I'm like, I'm doing it how they do it in Jamaica, because I was like, what's a 3-point turn again? Oh my god. but it worked. She was like, well, that's not how we do it here in Canada. You need to go, and she told me what to do. And now I can do a 3-point turn, but back then I was like, what the heck's a 3-point turn? Even though I read it and I saw the guy do it, I forgot in the heat of the moment of the exam. Then for parallel parking, I rather drive 5 hours around the block than parallel park. I'm gonna be honest. I have not practiced parallel parking since 2017 when they were doing the driving lessons, when Keys was giving me driving lessons. That was the last time I parallel parked. So I've never done it in reality. And then when she told me to do that, my lady was like, okay, you're about to kill these people car. Just go back to the test center and I'll just let you park there. And I just did a regular park and she gave me that grade as a parallel park. God bless her soul. I got the sweetest little lady when I was doing my test. And I did not have to parallel park, thank God. And I still have not done that to this day. Again, I will circle the block 5 hours to find a spot rather than parallel park. Okay? Okay. So yeah, those are the steps for getting your license here in Canada. I hope the information was helpful. If you have any other questions, you know what to do, comment them down below, or you can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is always in my description, and also you can find more information on the Ministry of Transport's website, whether Ontario, Saskatoon, wherever you are. Just check their website out. They'll have information. The books are also there for free in PDF version, or you can get them the physical books from Walmart or any other local store. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You have a lovely day, a very lovely day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.